Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just the little things that I have learned as I have grown into the person that I am today. And one of the things that I have learned in my life is to not procrastinate. And it is Tuesday evening, and I am still pre-filming videos. I have candles lit in the whole house. It's so nice. It smells so fallish in here. It's like every candle that I have is like a fall candle. And I've been going through my meditation books, trying to pick books that are like the meditations that I like the most. I have 5 books. So for each pre-filmed video, I'm like, okay, well, I want to read this meditation. So I'm picking my favorites out of all of them. So I have 2 meditations for today, which is October 18th. And the first I'm going to read from is Nightlight by Amy Dean. I just skimmed these meditations. I haven't read them all the way through. So October 18th. There is more to life than increasing its speed. Mahatma Gandhi. We live in an age of instant coffee, 1-minute managers, and same-day mail delivery. The speed of living seems to increase every year with improved methods of communication, travel, and manufacturing. Because of this, we may feel our daily work in the program and the subtle changes in our behavior are not fast enough. How can we keep pace with the world if we're spending years on recovery? It is the quality of a thing that is important. Instant coffee is a great convenience, but brewed coffee tastes better. Driving the fast lane all the way to a destination will get us there faster, but we won't enjoy much of the scenery we pass through. Life isn't a race won by the fastest. If we set a goal and don't attain it within the time frame we set, we do not fail. We readjust our schedule. Living to the fullest doesn't mean living in the fast lane. It means taking the scenic route, stopping often to appreciate the view, and sharing the ride. I can slow down my pace and appreciate the road I travel by taking my time and meeting fellow travelers. Such a great meditation. It's such a great meditation, and it's somebody that is really trying to slow down in life, and I am, trying to not speed through life, which is a good example of like me pre-filming these videos, is so that when I, am spending some time with my husband, I can be present and spend time with my husband. And tonight, my husband's out to dinner with some friends for a birthday, and I'm like just enjoying filming one video after another. I'm having such a great time. The dogs are following me around and being hilarious. And I've got like 10 candles lit and just really trying to enjoy the present moment. There was a time that I tried to speed through everything that I did in life. I just felt like it was about getting all this, get this done and get that done and get this done and get this done. And then, you know what? It's like the end and you're like, why did I rush for all of this? Like, I missed the process. I missed the journey. And I am somebody that today so much believes in the journey and believes in the process of not rushing through it. It's really interesting that she references recovery in this because, in my first year, I really did see so much about like, I was fixated on the goal, of getting 30 days, getting 60 days, getting 90 days sober, 180 days. 6 months, 180 days, 6 months, 180 days, a year, 18 months. And just like, I would see somebody that had that amount of time and I wanted what they had, What I know today, and it took me a long time to realize this, is that recovery is a design for living. It is simply a language of which I speak. It's how I live today. And the only way that I can really explain it to people that don't live it, and this is really a poor analogy, but it's the only thing that comes close, is if you think of like if there's been a religiosity that you believe in or that you follow, and there's a certain doctrine or way that you look at the world, it's very similar to that. Recovery is the way that I choose to live my life as a sober person today, and it's also the language that I speak. It's how I make sense of the world, and talking to my sponsor and my friends, and conversations that we have are probably very different than other people have conversations, it's very normal for my best friend and I to be driving around talking about something. We could be talking about like maybe an argument that I had with my husband, and she'll say, well, what was your part in it? And I'll say, well, my part was this, and, whatever. And, we talk about expectations and resentments and things like that. I mean, it's a language that we speak. It took me a long time to understand that. For a long time, I thought it was just about the absence of alcohol or drugs in my life. But that's really not it at all. It's really about this design for living, this this blueprint for how I'm going to live my life, you know? And it took me a long time to get that. For a long, long time, I was so focused on just the attaining of the goal, the end goal of the amount of time, you know? And it was interesting because my best friend and I were talking the other night about how, like, I went to a meeting every day for my first 2 years. I was taught that you go to 90 meetings in 90 days and then you repeat that 4 times a year, right? That was what I was taught in early sobriety. And I can remember I had this calendar in my kitchen, and I would literally write down on each day, like, how many days sober I had, because I knew exactly how many days sober I had, and I thought that was important. I still think it's important to be proud of that. I don't know how many days I have today. I have an app on my phone that tells me how many hours and how many days I've been sober, you know, and I look at it every once in a while because I just think it's kind of interesting. Today, I don't think that way. Today, I think, like, you know, the saying, like, the person that gets up earliest in the morning has the most sobriety, because we only have a daily reprieve from drinking and, you know, using drugs. But back then, I was so proud of each and every day. And by going to a meeting every day and talking to my sponsor every day and talking to other people, you know, in the program, it really formed a new way of living for me. And it's not, I don't even really care for the word habit. Like, it really was more of a way of living. I don't even like the word ritual. I think it just formed in me this way of living, that this is just how I do things. And by having these conversations with people, and we all spoke kind of the same language, you know, be very much like if you move to another country, like if you move to France, if you're not from France, and, you know, you didn't know how to speak French, and then, you know, and let's say you started, you know, speaking, you know, maybe you moved to some small town in France, you know, where they don't have huge grocery stores and things like that, and every day you go to a little small market or whatever. And I had friends of mine that recently bought a house that they're fixing up in a small town. I think it's Madeira, Mexico, and there's not like huge grocery stores except for like 20 miles away, and so there's like little farmers markets in the town square, and then like just little restaurants and stuff. And so every day they like get up and they go to the farmer's market and they get fresh fruit and they bring it home and make coffee and breakfast and eat it for breakfast, and they do the same for lunch and dinner. And you know, and they don't speak Spanish, but they're learning slowly. And so it's kind of like, you know, when you immerse yourself into, you know, a new world like that, a new culture. And recovery is no different than that, really, I think, you know. But it's not about hurrying through that. Like, I don't think I ever felt at any time, like, I cannot say in 25, almost, well, we don't borrow time in the program, but 25 years and 9 months of sobriety, I can never think of a moment in sobriety where I felt like I have arrived. Like, I don't remember, like, ever just waking up one day and saying, okay, there, I'm here, you know, like, I can remember, like, doing certain steps where I felt like, okay, I've done my 4th and 5th step, or I made these amends, you know, and things like that. But I never had the moment. I mean, it's laughable to me, right? Because I think I thought that there would be the moment where I thought like, oh my God, I'm there, I arrived. But I never once had the moment where I just was like, I've achieved everything I wanted to achieve in sobriety, you know, like, I'm still not there. Like, I say it all the time on this channel, you know, I believe that every day that we wake up is another chance to be a better version of ourselves. And I hope that I think that for the rest of my life, because the day that I stop thinking that is the day that I really stop growing, you know, emotionally and learning about myself. So, all right, now let me read that was a great meditation. I really like that one. Let me read from The Language of Letting Go by Melody Beatty for October 18th. Dun, dun, dun. Get my glasses on. Throwing out the rule book. Many of us feel like we need a rule book, a microscope, and a warranty to get through life. We feel uncertain, frightened. We want the security of knowing what's going to happen and how we shall act. We don't trust ourselves or life. We don't trust the plan. We want to be in control. I made terrible mistakes about my choices, mistakes that nearly destroyed me. Life has really shocked me. How can I trust myself? How can I trust life and my instincts after where I've been? Asked one woman. It is understandable that we fear being crushed again, considering the way many of us were when we bottomed out on our codependency. We don't have to be fearful. We can trust ourselves, our path, and our instincts. Yes, we want to avoid making the same mistakes again. We are not the same people we were yesterday or last year. We've learned, grown, changed. We did what we needed to do then. If we made a mistake, we cannot let that stop us from living and fully experiencing today. We have arrived at the understanding that we needed our experiences, even our mistakes, to get to where we are today. Do we know that we needed our life to unfold? Do we know that we needed our life to unfold exactly as it did to find ourselves, our higher power, and this new way of life? Wow. Or is it part of us still, that was my wow. Or is it part of us still calling our past a mistake? We can let go of our past and trust ourselves now. We do not have to punish ourselves with our past. We don't need a rule book, a microscope, or we do not need a rule book, a microscope, a warranty. All we really need is a mirror. We can look into the mirror and say, I trust you. No matter what happens, you can take care of yourself. And what happens will continue to be good, better than you think. Today I will stop clinging to the painful lessons of the past. I will open myself to the positive lessons today and tomorrow hold for me. I trust that I can and will take care of myself now. I trust that the plan is good, even when I don't know what it is. Loved that meditation. I think, so often in life, we get really, really stuck on the past, and the lessons of the past. But it's like, if you've learned a lesson, why do you stay stuck on the lesson? And I'm asking myself that kind of question too, or asking myself that question too. It's like, why do I choose to continue to get stuck on some lessons? Like if I've learned it and I've moved on, then don't I need to trust the process? Don't I need to trust the journey? I think often we go back to the same, errors of our ways in our head. We continue to relive it over and over and over again. We don't need to do that. Have we actually learned something from it? It's like, I heard this thing one time, and I think this is so profound if you're a spiritual person and you believe in a higher power, right? Like, if you believe in a higher power and you trust a higher power, then what is the need to pray about something more than once? I think that's such a fantastic question, like if you really trust your higher power, then just praying once on something, isn't that enough? Like, don't you trust that your higher power is powerful enough to hear your prayer and act on it and do what's in your best interest? If you really truly do believe in a higher power, right? So likewise, if we really truly have learned from lessons of our past, why do we continue to punish ourselves for them and relive them over and over and over again? There's absolutely no reason for that, correct? Right? Correct, right? But we do. I do. I know I do. I think it's a really great question. And I love the idea of trusting the trusting the process and trusting the journey. I really, truly believe in that. It's so hard, though, isn't it? It's really, really hard just to say, okay, I trust the plan, whatever you have planned for me, and I love that, from Oprah when she says that she surrendered at one point because, she was like, so if you don't know the story, I love this story. Oprah loved the book, The Color Purple by Alice Walker, and when they were making it into a movie, she wanted something to do with the movie. She didn't care what it was, whether she was a script girl or whatever, but she had auditioned for the part of Miss Sophia, and so she called her agent after weeks, and she said, have you heard anything? Or an agent said, Oprah, there are real actresses. This is way back in the day before she had done a whole lot. I mean, she had done television, but before she had acted in a lot of movies. And her agent said, you can actually find this on YouTube. This video clip is on YouTube somewhere. I always mean to find these clips and then I always forget, but her agent said, Oprah, there are real actresses out there that are auditioning for this role, and that you're not it, right? You're not the only one. So she went to this camp to lose weight, and she was on the treadmill, and she prayed to God, and she said, okay, God, whatever you have planned for me, obviously this is not it. Obviously you don't have in your plan for me to be in this film, this movie, but whatever you have planned for me, I'm there for you. I trust the journey. And she started, or I guess she was not a treadmill. She was walking around this lap on this track. And she started singing this song, I Surrender All. And the moment she said, if you watch this clip, the moment, it's like an aha moment for her. The moment she let go and surrendered and trust the process and trust her higher power, the moment her assistant came out on the track and said, Steven Spielberg's on the phone for you. And he said to her, I hear that you're at a fat camp. If you lose 1 pound, the part's not going to be yours. That's what she says. And, what it really is this powerful moment of surrendering and letting go and realizing that there's a God and I'm not it, you know? And I've had to realize that. And even if you don't believe in any kind of higher power, it's like the universe is the same way. I mean, there's power to the universe and I'm not it. I'm not the one controlling the universe. I'm not as powerful as I think I am. And when I try to control things, typically things don't go the way that I want them to, you know? It's easier to float along and trust the process, you know? Even if you don't believe in religiosity, if you're floating down a river, don't you trust the process of the, I mean, don't you think that a river knows where it's going better than you do? I mean, think about it, you know? I never thought of it that way. Anyway, I really like those meditations today. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.